Adam's Soliloquy by Mark Twain. The spirit of Adam is supposed to be visiting New York City, inspecting the dinosaur at the Museum of Natural History. It is strange, very strange, I do not remember this creature. After gazing long and admiringly, well, it is wonderful. The mere skeleton 57 feet long and 16 feet high. Thus far, it seems, they've found only this sample without doubt a merely medium-sized one. A person could not step out here into the park and happen by luck upon the largest horse in America. No, he would happen upon one that would look small alongside of the biggest Normandy. It is quite likely that the biggest dinosaur was 90 feet long and 20 feet high. It would be 5 times as long as an elephant. An elephant would be to it what a calf is to an elephant. The bulk of the creature, the weight of him, as long as the longest whale and twice the substance in him, and all good wholesome pork, most likely, meat enough to last a village a year. Think of 100 of them in line, draped in shining cloth of gold, a majestic thing for a coronation procession. But expensive, for he would eat much, only kings and millionaires could afford him. I have no recollection of him, neither Eve nor I had heard of him until yesterday. We spoke to Noah about him, he colored and changed the subject. Being brought back to it and pressed a little, he confessed that in the matter of stocking the ark, the stipulations had not been carried out with absolute strictness, that is, in minor details, unessentials. There were some irregularities. He said the boys were to blame for this, the boys mainly, his own fatherly indulgence partly. They were in the giddy heyday of their youth at the time, the happy springtime of life. Their 100 years sat upon them lightly, and well, he had once been a boy himself, and he had not the heart to be too exacting with them. And so well, they 999 things they shouldn't have done, and he, to be candid, he winked. But on the whole they 999 pretty faithful work, considering their age. They collected and stowed a good share of the really useful animals, and also, when Noah was not watching, a multitude of useless ones, such as flies, mosquitoes, snakes, and so on. But they 999 certainly leave ashore a good many creatures which might possibly have had value some time or other, in the course of time. Mainly these were vast saurians 100 feet long, and monstrous mammals, such as the megatherium and that sort, and there was really some excuse for leaving them behind, for 2 reasons. 1, it was manifest that some time or other they would be needed as fossils for museums, and 2, there had been a miscalculation. The ark was smaller than it should have been, and so there wasn't room for those creatures. There was actually fossil material enough all by itself to freight 25 arks like that one. As for the dinosaur, but Noah's conscience was easy. It was not named in his cargo list, and he and the boys were not aware that there was such a creature. He said he could not blame himself for not knowing about the dinosaur, because it was an American animal, and America had not then been discovered. Noah went on to say, I 999 reproach the boys for not making the most of the room we had, by discarding trashy animals and substituting beasts like the mastodon, which could be useful to man in doing heavy work such as the elephant performs. But they said those great creatures would have increased our labors beyond our strength, in the matter of feeding and watering them, we being short-handed. There was something in that. We had no pump, there was but one window, we had to let down a bucket from that and haul it up a good 50 feet, which was very tiresome. Then we had to carry the water downstairs 50 feet again, in cases where it was for the elephants and their kind, for we kept them in the hold to serve for ballast. As it was, we lost many animals, choice animals that would have been valuable in menageries, different breeds of lions, tigers, hyenas, wolves, and so on, for they wouldn't drink the water after the salt sea water got mixed with the fresh. But we never lost a locust, nor a grasshopper, nor a weevil, nor a rat, nor a cholera germ, nor any of that sort of beings. On the whole, I think we 999 very well, everything considered. We were shepherds and farmers. We had never been to sea before, we were ignorant of naval matters, and I know this for certain, that there is more difference between agriculture and navigation than a person would think. It is my opinion that the 2 trades do not belong together. Shem thinks the same, so does Japheth. As for what Ham thinks, it is not important. Ham is biased. You find me a Presbyterian that isn't, if you think you can. He said it aggressively, it had in it the spirit of a challenge. I avoided argument by changing the subject. With Noah, arguing is a passion, a disease, and it is growing upon him, has been growing upon him for 30,000 years and more. It makes him unpopular, unpleasant. Many of his oldest friends dread to meet him. Even strangers soon get to avoiding him, although at first they are glad to meet him and gaze at him, on account of his celebrated adventure. For a time they are proud of his notice, because he is so distinguished, but he argues them to rags, and before long they begin to wish, like the rest, that something had happened to the ark. On the bench in the park, mid-afternoon, dreamily noting the drift of the human species back and forth, to think this multitude is but a wee little fraction of the earth's population, and all blood kin to me, every one. Eve ought to have come with me, this would excite her affectionate heart. She was never able to keep her composure when she came upon a relative. She would try to kiss every one of these people, black and white and all. A baby wagon passes. How little change, one can notice none at all, in fact. I remember the first child well, let me see. It is 300,000 years ago come Tuesday. This one is just like it. So between the first one and the last one there is really nothing to choose. The same insufficiency of hair, the same absence of teeth, the same feebleness of body and apparent vacancy of mind, the same general unattractiveness all around. Yet Eve worshipped that early one, and it was pretty to see her with it. This latest one's mother worships it. It shows in her eyes it is the very look that used to shine in Eve's. To think that so subtle and intangible a thing as a look could flit and flash from face to face down a procession 300,000 years long, and remain the same, without shade of change. Yet here it is, lighting this young creature's face just as it lighted Eve's in the long ago, the newest thing I have seen in the earth, and the oldest. Of course, the dinosaur, but that is in another class.